back. We will now go to Finance and Personnel. Pinky Vargas is the chair.
Good afternoon. I'm joined with committee members Michael Lillquist and Dan Hemmel. We have 3 items in front of us today, all ordinances. The first one, an ordinance amending the 2015-16 adopted budget, increasing revenue in the street fund by $4 million as a result of a $350,000 proceeds from intergovernmental loan and award of a $500,000 grant and appropriating relating expenditures in the street fund. I had to practice that. The city will replace approximately 3,600 streetlights with energy-efficient LED. Yay! The Public Works Department has contracted with the Washington State Department of Enterprise Services to hire a pre-qualified company to perform the work. Benefits of LED technology include lower fixture costs, longer warranties, improved nighttime visibility, and energy savings. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Finance Director, Brian Henshaw.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Brian Henshaw, Finance Department. Just remind you that April this year, Public Works was here and gave you a presentation on this project. And in addition to that, at that time, we did vote for a resolution to add an ordinance so that I could go ahead and apply for the local program, which is a Washington State funding mechanism. We used it last year for the ambulance purchases for $1 million. It's when the state goes out and issues bonds for all of the smaller municipalities, including hospitals and schools, and by doing a large public bond, we save money on the issuance cost, and therefore it's a good funding mechanism for us to use also. This ordinance in your packet today, all it's doing is giving us the authority now to receive the funding and the expenditures between now and the end of the year when this project is expected to be done. And it also modifies the 2016 budget for the interest payments that will be necessary. We actually have one interest payment in December too. So the state went out and issued bonds last week. I don't have the final numbers yet, but it should be about 2.5%, including all costs. So again, it's a good funding mechanism at a low rate. And we'll pay that back over the next 12 years from the street fund with anticipated savings from both energy but also repair and maintenance and just of the lights themselves. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Committee members, any questions?
I'm going to move to approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Great.
Our second ordinance, amending the 2015-16 budget, authorizing an interfund loan of $1,350,000 from the Solid Waste Fund to the Watershed Fund. There is a $5 million line of credit in the Watershed Fund that has been used to make a land acquisition purpose. The cost of maintaining the line of credit is approximately $28,000 per year, depending on interest rates. This one-year interfund loan and reserves of $1,350,000 will be used to pay off the existing line of credit and save the Watershed Fund approximately $22,000 per year in interest and fees at today's rate. Well, we like that. And with that, I will turn it over again to Brian Henshaw.
Okay, thank you. So back in 2012, we established a line of credit with Wells Fargo for $5 million. It was specifically taken out so that we could make large purchases in the watershed, and we did that in 2012 for $2.7 million. So we did one draw right when we had the line of credit established for $2.7 million. Since then, we haven't made any other draws against this line of credit. We do pay based on the amount that's borrowed on the 2.7 plus the amount that's unborrowed because the bank has to have that available to us. So with that, the original terms of the agreement were for 3 years and are coming due at the end of this year. And so I asked the banks, and 2 banks actually, to give us a quote and an estimate on providing a similar line of credit or just extending it out 1 year with annual debt service. But after looking at those, we do have the money available in the Solid Waste Fund for a short-term interfund loan. Our interfund loans are based on what we earn, so that's at about 0.82% currently. And right now with the rates are anticipated to go up. So just to save money in the watershed, it'll be about $22,000 at the current rates. Ted has been working with the Watershed Advisory Group, anticipating paying back half of that in this year's budget, and then we'll pay the other half back next year. So it's really just an interim funding mechanism, and we would appreciate it to go forward with that recommendation.
Michael?
Thanks, Pinky. This is sort of business as usual for the finance department. They're always looking for ways to refinance and save money. They're looking forward at our bonds and our borrowing. This is, I think, a prudent financial move. So in a moment I will vote to approve. But I just want to make a little comment. This money was made necessary. This line of credit was made necessary by a large purchase in the watershed. It was a pretty good purchase, but I actually was a dissenting vote on that, merely because of the price per acre for the property we bought. When this came forward, I don't think the council at the time recognized that the Watershed Advisory Board does not do a cost-benefit analysis. They never analyzed the price. And when it came to the council, we unfortunately never analyzed the price either. I was concerned that we actually were overpaying for this property. I'm glad we bought the property. I'm glad we're refinancing it, but I think we've got to be really careful, especially with large purchases where little teeny differences don't seem like much, but actually are rather large. So with that comment on the original purchase, I move that we recommend approval of this ordinance tonight.
Okay, any other comments, questions? No? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, so we have a unanimous recommendation for council this evening. Our third item, an ordinance approving the advanced refunding of the outstanding 2006 water and sewer bonds. This ordinance authorizes the issuance of a water and sewer bonds in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $4,200,000. Bond proceeds are to be used to advance refund outstanding bonds in 2006 for the purpose of capturing savings from lower interest rates. The bond will be issued with the same amortization period as the original 2006 bonds and is expected to save in excess 4% of the outstanding debt, including issuance costs. This ordinance delegates authority to the finance director to negotiate the final terms of the bond with the successful respondent by June 2016. The bonds will be sold to the ultimate purchaser, who submits a proposal that is determined, in the city's sole discretion, to be in the best interest of the city. The city further reserves the right to reject all bids in its sole discretion. And with that, Brian, I will let you explain what that means.
Thank you. As Michael said, right now it's a good time to take advantage of lower interest rates. The market conditions allow for this, and this is a standard practice for finance. These bonds were issued in 2006 for water and sewer. They mature in 2026. They have a 10-year no-call provision, which means that normally we wouldn't call them before 2016. But they've created a pre-funding mechanism, which means that we'll do it this year because there's enough savings to put the money in escrow and to pay for that additional savings and cost of an escrow account to be done 1 year prior to normal. The current bonds range in interest between 4 and 4.5%. A 12-year or 11-year bond right now is about 2.5%, and that's kind of the savings that you get in that. So including the issuance costs of approximately $56,000, we should realize savings of about $300,000 over the next 11 years. So that's the funding mechanism to do that. The second part of this is that I'm going to use a new financing tool, which is called a private placement. Instead of doing a public offering, which just means that we put the bids out and anyone can buy them, we would work with institutional investors, so they'll give us proposals. We set the terms and conditions of those proposals, and then we analyze those proposals from the banks that are qualified to bid on those, and then we'll select the best one. We put in the condition of the bond that this can happen between now and June 2016, excuse me, only so that we can time the market. That's another advantage of a private placement. Right now, there's a lot of anticipation, if you read the headlines, about what the Fed's going to do on Thursday of this week. It's the first chance that they might increase rates since 2008. But there's a lot of speculation that they won't do it now just because of the world economy. So this just gives us flexibility in case rates take a spike that we can either delay or speed up. The other advantage of private placement is it's faster. We don't have to do a bond rating with S&P or Moody's, so the investors will provide financial information from our CAF or our financial report, but we don't have to do some of the other reporting by Moody's. So for those reasons, I would ask that we move forward with this. The anticipated savings, again, I said, is about $300,000 at current rates. It gives us a window of opportunity. We anticipate doing this by November, so it's just a bigger window than what we anticipate, but that just gives us more flexibility. The underwriter is D.A. Davidson in Seattle, and they provide the service of going out and writing what the requests are and then getting back all of the proposals. It's like a request for a proposal that we do at the city all the time, but it's for the bonds. And then we also have Piper Jaffray, which is the financial advisors that will help me analyze those. And then we also have Pacifica Law Group, which is the legal counsel, which prepares the bonds and the conditions which this will be offered. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
Any questions?
I'm going to move to approve.
Okay. Just before we vote, I just wanted to say thank you for explaining that for those who don't speak accountingese, what all of this means, and I think that's very helpful for people to understand. And also I want to appreciate you for being proactive at looking for ways to reduce our budget and save us some money for other things. So thank you for that. And with that, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? All right, and that's 3-0 for council this evening. And with that, and the committee.
Okay, thank you, Pinky. We have